and the underdogs have prevailed once again.
I would like to present the USL Regular Season Championship to FC Cincinnati. Congratulations to the players, the staff, and most importantly, the fans on a record-breaking season. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your regular season champions, FC Cincinnati.
In a foot race, Cincinnati plays this across. Vasquez with the finish. Brandon Vasquez gives Cincinnati the 2-1 lead. A late breakdown by Red Bull.
Well, Dylan Nealis gets beaten, and nobody covers the streaking run. Unbelievable.
L'Oreal got under that. Oh! What a goal for FC Cincinnati! You couldn't dream that any better. Goal of the tournament. Maybe the history of the tournament. Alvaro Barreal makes it 2-0.
They have done it. Cincinnati, your 2023 Supporters Shield winners. A first trophy in their MLS era, and now they celebrate. Top of the Supporters Shield race since May. They never look back. And now a piece of silverware to show for it.
And they've gone for the long-range efforts. My word! That is spectacular! That is a goal to savour for a lifetime! An I was there type goal! Look at Orishano with an iconic strike at TQL Stadium.
CF Montreal just go to sleep when the ball goes. His whistle dead, and Orishano just takes a peek, looks up, and doesn't even need to touch the ball. And how about this technique? Just absolutely perfect.
Lifted into the penalty area. That's Bauer, and that's Will. That's saved, and that's Surridge, and he still saves it on the line. What a 60 seconds for Roman Celentano.
A double save, and he knows everything about it as well. First the punch, but then he gets back to his line. That is sensational, because he goes low for that first one, but look at him get up again.
Rajano gets the cross away. Bicycle kick! Wow! A top-class finish for Kevin Denkey!
Juninho against Hildebrandt.
And Hildebrand has done it again! It is
The Flying Lion says,
boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flying Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
It's definitely tougher to be an academy player than it is a pro.
In this club, you don't play just for the club. You play for the club. I'm here for the fans.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
What's going on, guys?
Thanks for joining us for our immediate reaction to FC Cincinnati's 1-1 draw to Toronto FC on the road. Man, I had a lot of things in choice words to say until Kenji Mboma Dem, at the death here, the 90th plus second minute, saves it for FC Cincinnati. Gets our first point on the road, Sam, for the orange and blue. How we feeling?
Yeah, indifferent. I similar to you, I'm sure everybody, that is tuning in live and probably watched the game had a few choice words as well that they were getting ready to tweet out, text their friends about. And luckily we showed some fight. We did throughout this match. And Kenji saved it. He saved it. And oh boy, did he. I mean, I think a lot of people would be like, he just saved Pat's job, right? He just saved Chris's job. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into that, but yeah, obviously the biggest thing to take away, Ryan, we stole a point. We stole a point away, and we got the result that usually you look to get the bare minimum of when you are away. So we'll take it.
If you hit close to rock bottom, your only way up is 1 point at a time, I guess, right now. Yeah. Sam and I both predicted a draw in this one, just based on how things were rolling. But yeah, we salvaged something out of it. So as we kind of look at this match as a whole, I think for me, we had chances, Sam. Like, that's the thing is, like, early on, Evander plays a nice ball to Barlow. He's got to do better with that. That was really our only big chance, I'd say, early on. Closer to half, Nick Hagelin gets a nice header on goal as well. But past that, like, there wasn't a ton there. I think, for me, it was much of the same. We went to a back three center backs, with our traditional wide wing backs again. In this one, we were kind of interested to see what we would do with it. But it was much of the same. We couldn't progress the ball through the middle. We couldn't, have Denkey and Barlow work together, and the chemistry was off, or they couldn't hold the ball up. And Toronto was coming right back at us. We were a little bit lucky in some chances that they had. And then the second half rolls in, Sam, and we hit around the 60th minute, and Matt Miazga goes down with a groin injury. It was a beautiful ball that Toronto played in. He makes like a diving play at the ball, pulls his groin probably on the play. It looks bad right away. Sargent misses the chance, by the way. And it easily could have been 1-0. At that point, Matt comes off, and you're thinking, all right, let's see what this, defense can do at this point. But yeah, for me, again, it's just we had chances. Evander had a chance, at one point right in front of goal. Mm-hmm. That poor guy is just lacking confidence. I think you said it last, week perfectly. He's kind of got the Corey Baird effect going on right now. But he's your top player. He's your number 10. He's got to do better. He's got to be able to, finish these chances. And he's just frustrated. He's trying to force the issue, and it's not good enough.
No, yeah. And obviously, like, same like Barlow, right? Barlow has a chance very early in front of goal, and we're not able to get that one to once again just kick off what would be a good away match, and the vibes would obviously be better had a goal gone in a lot earlier. But yeah, I mean the frustration around this squad, Ryan, is just I think I tweeted it out. It is something that I have never seen before in an FC Cincinnati squad. Just visibly everything that could go wrong is going wrong, and then somehow, some way we're salvaging a point. But you're seeing every pass that is errant. You're seeing every shot that could have been. You're seeing just the frustration just in every single movement, every single play. I think that is honestly that's what's wearing on them the most. It's not necessarily the physicality of the game right now. It's more the mental, like just getting over the hump of like, guys, we just have to move on to the next chance, to the next to the next second ball, to the next, it's tough.
Well, and that's something I thought that Matt Miazga might be able to kind of resolve as he came back in, became the captain again. He usually is holding people accountable and not allowing this to happen. I mean, he can only control so much in the back line, but midfield and forward room, you're right. I mean, the passes are off. You see Barlow trying to connect with Denkey. You see Evander trying to connect with, whether it's Evander or whoever it is up there. It's just not working. The chemistry's been off, from the very beginning. And you would think that a team that is returning, how many starters from last season would be able to figure this out. But, clearly it's whether it's a roster build type problem or just a meshing personalities thing on the field. How do we maximize the best out of the players we have? And we've talked about it, time and time again. But at the end of the day, Sam, like we salvage this point. We get something out of it. It's our first point again on the road that we've had in the MLS season. I want to shout out Kenta, for putting this one out here. Sam, we got our 4th red card in 4 matches, which is got to be close to a record. I think somebody had put, to your post on the reply, I think 5 might be the record in MLS for consecutive matches with the red card. But there's something about going down a man that FC Cincinnati has somehow figured out, I guess. Before red cards, Sam, we've had 5 goals for, 11 goals against in these matches, the last, from this one and the 3 prior. And then after red cards, 3 goals for and 3 goals against, but had some key ones, especially in, I believe the Montreal one, we come back and win that one. This one, we salvage a draw out of it. Historically, Pat Noonan teams have not played well up a man, but down a man, all of a sudden, the team is like, holy crap, we actually have to play. Why can't we just say, let's do this from the start? Where's that intensity, Sam? Where's that change? What do we have to change to get that to happen?
That's a great question. And it starts with, the leaders on the team, the guys in the coaching box to be able to just say the right things, to get your team motivated, right? And like you had said, you're relying on a guy like Matt Miazga to pick up the boys and go, hey, like we need this, we need a result in this one more than anything else. And yeah, I mean, they pull it off, and gosh, you're looking at the rest of the game going, well, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Like that's, like you said, 4 red cards in 4 straight games. Now we're picking up more injuries.
Yeah, that's the big
what
issue.
What is this team going to look like even next week against Chicago, right? Like,
Well, that's what's tough is we've talked a lot as well. Obviously you said about did he save Pat Noonan's job? Like, I think Taylor Twellman put it last season at some point that Pat really hasn't had his choice 11, from the end of last season because of injuries and then rolling into this season as well. But you still have to get the most out of the players that you have, right? Well, even in this season, in this stretch, like, I don't think, obviously Pat's not doing the decisions on the field in terms of discipline, but there's got to be at least some coaching to be like, keep your composure, don't get that second yellow card, or don't throw your shoe on the ground if you're Kevin Denkey and then go and poke the guy in the face.
Yeah. 5 minutes later,
you could say what you want about it. The ref's not even looking at that play, by the way. So
No,
somebody upstairs saw it and said, hey, you should go look at this. But whatever you want to say, it's got to be better, whether that's just from a coaching standpoint to say discipline's got to improve, or from an individual player standpoint. Like Sam said, they're frustrated. The whole team is, completely off kilter in terms of chemistry, not putting chances away, not doing what they should. And at some point, you got to just be like, look, how can we kind of collectively bring this together? And at least at the end, they did that. Now, Sam, I want to shout something out here because I don't know if I've seen it, but Brian Ramirez has had a little bit of a dip in form, Sam. I know we have had other teams really go at him, on the left side, whether he's been playing left back or left wing back. Kenji Mboma Dem comes in this one and scores, had a pretty decent, 10 minutes that he was in the match. Are you ready to see Kenji on the side starting? Give him a chance, maybe let Ramirez get a break. He's got a couple yellow cards now too, but maybe, throw him out there and see what you can get out of the young guy.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think Ramirez played terrible in this one. I thought defensively he showed a lot more fight than he has in previous matches. Specifically there was I believe a play like towards the end line, and he was able to, give a nice recovery. He actually sprinted past Flores to be able to make the recovery and force a corner kick instead of letting a cross come in. So that was nice. But yeah, I mean, once again, the competition, right? If Kenji's showing that, hey, offensively, I can do this in, what, two minutes of being in the game. I mean, Ryan, what a finish that was.
It was
right?
a nice finish.
The transition play too, as well, to be able to get it to him as quickly as possible.
Ball through to Jabari's composure to play it to him, and Kenji slots it. Yeah.
And you're doing all this down a man, right? So you need to move the ball very quick so that way their defense can't get set, right? And so, I mean, it's worth a shout. It is, especially when right now you're like you said
trying
before,
to find something.
Exactly. Pat is literally throwing stuff at the board, seeing what sticks. And right now he threw Kenji at the board, and by gosh, he stuck.
Well, if you think about, if you want to go to a 4-back system, maybe you play Brian Ramirez left back,
further up the pitch,
put Kenji left winger, Ender right winger, find another right back and go 2-back. Like, I don't mind that. Try to, get more of that attack that we saw against Red Bulls. Cause this match, like, clearly you could see the difference. It was more of a sit back, but hey, Sam, we didn't give up 4 goals. We only gave up 1, and it was an own goal. It was one that we put in, which, by the way, like Flores, it's unlucky, but at the same token, like, he was caught between decisions. I think Roman was yelling at him, and then by the time the ball comes to him, it kind of just deflects off of him. But have the confidence in that play that, hey, I'm going to be there and just clear the ball out. Just hit it first time.
So another stat to look out for, Ryan. When is the last time not only an FC Cincinnati squad, but an MLS squad had back-to-back games with a red card and an own goal?
2 in a row now.
That is a special stat, a special category, I'm sure, that FC Cincinnati is now in. So if anybody is listening, go find that, tag us. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
It is wild. I mean, you don't like coach to like prevent own goals. You coach to clear the ball. You coach to mark the man. Like besides that chance that, ultimately they get the goal on, and then the Sargent chance, like there wasn't a ton of great chances. There were some half chances that they had.
So
but
what you talk about clearances, right? I got a stat for you. On FOTMob, I'm looking 45 clearances for FC Cincinnati to Toronto's 16.
That's pretty wild. I mean, yeah, they were coming right back at us. And I hate to dog Samuel Giddey. He has a great pass to Jabari that leads to the counterattack. I just still feel like in the midfield, he's leaving a ton of space. But part of it is not necessarily on him, I guess I should say. The front three in their counter press is just not good enough. I mean, I text you so many times about this during the match. Like Denkey and Evander, and I would say just really those two. Barlow is kind of trying to run around and do it.
Yeah, Barlow's working his butt off.
But the other two, like they let the players turn and come at our midfield, and then the midfield is kind of shredded right away because they're trying to press like Pat wants them to, but the rest of the guys aren't. So Toronto could come right back at us and lead on these counters, and I just feel like there's way too much space there. We have to become a little bit more compact in that and, try to get our shape with our press. We did that against Tigres, I think, very, very well. And then all of a sudden we went completely away from it. But that's because we had, more guys up the pitch in the midfield than we kind of had the even midfield because Evander's, let's be honest, he's not playing defense in there.
No.
So I think that's one area that we could definitely improve on that would, get us to play a little bit more compact, a little bit better on the ball. But past that, Sam, like there's still a lot that needs to change. Ultimately, again, we move up the standings a little bit with this point. We're now in playoff position, but that's before everyone else plays, on the week. But there's still a lot to improve on.
Yeah, there is. And then, like I said, just going into this week, I mean, we'll touch on it on Monday, but I mean, what does this look like going forward with the health of all of our players? Yeah. You've got a mid-table opponent in Chicago coming up. I mean, yes, thanks for getting a point on the road, right? You did your job. You saved your job. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say other than I'm sure there are some things that Pat is like, all right, like we're gonna have to figure something out because I'm trying everything here.
Well, and part of him trying everything is just because of who's available, maybe too.
Yeah. And in this one, right? Don't have Teenage Adebe, right?
He's a late scratch.
He's out because of personal reasons. So we'll see, like, if anything comes to light about that. And then obviously Miles Robinson out. Still kind of nursing that injury he came back from U.S. men's national team camp. A lot of questions in the back line there.
Let's see if, as I go through this, I'm just kind of seeing if Pat's had some comments about, this match coming out of it. It doesn't appear that we've had anything yet of substance, but I'd be interested to see what he has to say. Obviously, he's probably pumped to get at least a point, out of it. But it comes down to the last two matches, Sam, tons of chances. We had, I think, around like 5 or 7 shots from what I could see. We had a few on goal. I would imagine our XG's got to be a little bit better than theirs on the day. So 0.66 to Toronto 0.49. There you go.
We've got something from Pat here that Laurel tweeted out. So first thing that we've seen from the press conference post-match from Pat, Laurel says that we've talked a lot about tactics. We've talked about discipline, expectations, accountability, all of it. You don't just learn from it. You don't learn from it. It doesn't mean any. If you don't learn from it, it doesn't mean anything. We won't progress and still have the belief that we will. This is a tough stretch for a lot of different reasons, but if they can't see that, the belief, the fight, and the character is there. If we can get other parts right, we'll be a good team and we'll have something to put together.
Yeah, I mean, he said we've got to stop talking and see more action with a lot of things that have been addressed. that's pretty glaring right there. That last part of it, especially. I think like he's saying, like, look, I'm trying to coach him, and I need to see that action on the field now come through. And like you see some subtle improvements in some areas. Like obviously the last 2 matches, Sam, we've had a little bit more chances, like than we had seen the past or the prior ones before that. Defense, at least, Sam, if you want to say it, was at least improved upon, even with the rotation. We only gave up 1, but Brady Mihailovic is not available for Toronto in this one. That's a huge glaring thing. And then, one of the best defenders, Walker Zimmerman, he's out of this too. So at the beginning of the season, you definitely circle Toronto and you're like, you got to steal 3 points. I think I see, someone had posted our strength of schedule is like one of the weakest at the beginning of the season, but MLS is always different year to year. Some of these teams that you think are going to be bad actually are pretty decent. This team, Toronto, is going to be fighting for a playoff spot from what it seems like. So if we can at least find a point on the road here, hopefully they can build off of that. Like Sam said, playing Chicago at home. We'll see what it looks like in terms of availability, like you said as well. So Sam, anything you want to say to wrap a bow on this one?
No, I mean, thank God for Kenji, right? I mean, he's come in certain spots this season. Obviously, like you saw what he could do against O&M FC in the Champions Cup, and that was just a taste of it, right? So, to Ryan's credit, the people that step up in these moments, you have to reward them. And so, whether that be a start or more minutes in general, right, rather than coming in the 90th minute, I think this is promising. This is cool to see. And on to the next one, right? On to the next one, survive and see if we can get a dub back at TQL.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the rewarding thing, especially for a young player, let this guy kind of build on this moment and say, hey, you're rewarded now. Maybe he goes out and plays his heart out in the next match. Like that's how you push teams forward. And especially if you're not getting results from some guys, individual battles, things like that maybe he was trying to coach. This is your opportunity and a chance to bring some younger guys into the fold, as Dado's now back and available too, seeing him kind of get on the ball and do things up front. I want to see some of that change, but reward the players for sure and see what we can do and build from it. So again, FC Cincinnati, they get a point out of this one, 1 point forward in the direction of where we want. And hey, it's not 0 points, which is about 20 minutes ago what I thought we were going to have. And this is not a conversation that would have been pretty. But now, hey, we got something out of it. And hope you guys can tune in on Monday. We'll talk a little bit more about this one. And then looking forward to the week ahead against Chicago.